So are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Well, literally, my next guest, he was sick and tired of being tired and sick all the time, and he ended up going to the doctor like most people do, and he just got more sick. It wasn't working. The prescription drugs with 20 different side effects, they weren't cutting it. And he took off on a completely different journey. He started studying food and became a top nutritionist in many medical clinics, including one of Dr. Mercola, who he worked with for over 7 years. And he is here with us. He's empowering people on how they can make a change and get more energy, become more vibrant, cure many of these ailments and illnesses that are affecting the majority of people living today because they're not eating real food. And we got an expert in this area to cover this very important topic. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Dean Show. 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 This is the Dean Show.
Hello, Jim Marlowe. How are you doing? Welcome to the Dean Show. How you been?
I've been very well, Eddie.
Almost
Thank you.
40 years you've been dealing with nutrition. You went from being tired and sick because you were tired and sick. Tell us a little bit about this.
Well, for the first 20 years of my life, I was a mess. I was chronically ill. I had all kind of chronic health problems. And at the age of 20, I reached a point in my life where I became sick and tired of being sick and tired all the time. And I recognized that the doctors that my parents were taking me to were not helping me. They were only giving me prescription drugs that at best helped to reduce some of my symptoms a little bit in the short run, but in the long run I was getting worse and worse and worse. And I wanted to know how to be healthy. And there was no doctor that I knew of at that time who could tell me that. So I decided to take responsibility for my own health, and I knew that the first thing to do to begin to take responsibility for my own health was to educate myself. And so I started learning about nutrition and the other, what I like to call fundamental influences on our health that are part of everybody's life. And if you just think things through for yourself very carefully and logically, I think anybody else would come to the same realizations. That, of course, what you're putting into your body every day is going to be a big and constant influence on your health. And so I started studying nutrition and I started making changes. And it only took about a week or two before I actually started to feel better in a very significant way. And I knew I was onto something. And so I continued to study nutrition. That was in 1977 when I started. And I was 20 then. Now I'm 58 now. And I've been studying nutrition for 38 years. And I'm still studying nutrition because no matter how much you know or how much you think you know, there's no end to learning. And I am devoted to being a lifelong student and continuing to evolve my consciousness and my practice in the living of my life and the engaging in the proper care and feeding of my body. And I learned enough about how to be healthy and learned enough about nutrition and the other fundamentals of health that in 1985 I started doing some nutrition and health counseling on a professional level. And I've had a lot of experience in that area, but the experience that people might like to hear the most because they may recognize, they may be very familiar with this natural medicine doctor, is for over 7 years I was the chief nutritionist at Dr. Joe Mercola's Optimal Wellness Center when he had a very thriving practice in Schaumburg because of the popularity of Dr. Mercola's website, and he claims that he's got the most visited website on the internet in regard to nutrition and health topics. And That may be the case, but his website has been quite popular for quite some time, and because of the popularity of his website, we were probably the busiest nutrition-based health center in the country in what I like to call the glory days of that clinic from 2000 to 2007, and that's when I was there. We had a lot of people coming from all over Chicagoland and outside of Chicagoland, different parts of the country, and even from outside the country to seek our help and realizing freedom from a whole variety of different chronic health problems and learning how to be healthy. Okay. And we taught them that.
We got a lot to talk about. We want people, one of the benefits now that we want people to derive when they leave the show is some things. I know this is a life. This is a change of ways, you know, to implement, you know, make it a way of life so you can really enjoy life. Like you've been enjoying now since you made these changes. My next question is someone tell me this. All right, you're making a change. And you got family, they love you, and they keep bringing this stuff over. Mm-hmm. So what do we do, okay? Mm-hmm. You're cutting out, and they're like, come on, you know, and every day you got this stuff in the fridge. Mm-hmm. So let's start with...
well, if this is offered to me anywhere, I say, well, thank you very much, but no thank you.
Uh-huh.
And
people can see, this looks good. Now, I cannot, look, I would eat a whole cake like this on my cheat days, you know?
Well, the first 20 years of my life, I would have eaten it too, but...
Sorry, let me see.
I also...
if you guys can see this, man, this is, I mean, look, this is like, whoo! You sure you won't have some?
I'm positive.
You know what?
I'm positive. Yeah, well, see, there is no struggle.
What's wrong with this? I mean, come on, enjoy life a little bit.
Well, what's wrong with it is there is nothing right with it. You know, many years ago, I learned the value of...
Can't you smell it?
Yes, I can, but it's not enticing at all.
Yeah.
Because I don't even see that as food. That's to me that's fake. That's fake food. It's not anything I want to put into my body. I want to honor my body with the very best quality nutrition that is available to me, the very best nutrition that God and nature have to offer.
That's what God had given us. We can right away agree, this is not food.
No.
You can say what's in here is poison.
Sugar is poison. It is a chronic, not acute, chronic, dose-dependent, depends on how much you eat, because there is a safe threshold, liver toxin. The metabolic diseases that are associated with obesity, the diabetes, the heart disease, the lipid problems, the strokes, the cancer, those diseases are being driven by sugar.
It's actually killing you internally, right?
But now that 60% of the population is overweight or obese, and diabetes rates have tripled, is it possible that we've been given the wrong advice?
What goes into some of
Well,
this?
you could call it, you can make a case that this is poison, but what I think is a more accurate way to describe what this and similar products are, this is not going to have a nutritional effect on your body.
No nutrition in there.
It's going to have a drug-like effect on your body. Okay? Sugar...
Just recently, scientists discovered a hormone called leptin. Leptin's job is to tell your brain that your body's had enough to eat. Guess what gets in the way of that job? Sugar. When you indulge in soft drinks and junk food, your brain has a hard time recognizing leptin, so you stay hungry longer and eat more than you should. This causes problems with your pancreas. Your pancreas produces insulin, which helps regulate your blood sugar. The more sugar you have in your bloodstream, the harder your pancreas has to work. And an overworked pancreas can lead to bad things: obesity, metabolic syndrome, and type 2 diabetes. And when you consider heart disease and liver disease, both of which can be caused by sugar, then yeah, sugar is bad.
Has more of a drug-like effect. It's a stimulant. It can make people feel better for a few moments, or maybe even a little bit longer than that, but it's not having a nutritional effect on the body. Sugar...
Fructose is the sweet stuff that's in sugar, and high fructose corn syrup, sugar's newer and cheaper twin. Fructose can do damage to your body in ways we are just beginning to understand.
Sugar is actually the most common addiction in America and probably the rest of the world where they have it available. But sugar...
The obvious suspect at the moment is sugar.
Sugar is driving all of the chronic metabolic diseases that we know about today.
...is an addictive stimulant, and I know most people don't see it as that, but it's a substance that only at best is going to cause what I call metabolic turmoil in your body. It's going to make it harder for your body to be healthy. And I think it's important to mature and to evolve your consciousness, doing this as a kid when you don't really know better, and unfortunately if the adult world around you, they don't understand how harmful this can be to health, and the adult world is very good at turning children into addicts for sweets, because they project their own food preferences and their own addictions on the children, and then the children become addicts for sugar in some form. But it doesn't have to be that way. And one of my most important teachings is that the sooner we develop what I call nutritional integrity, the better. Nutritional integrity is all about setting standards for what is acceptable food and drink for your body, and then being faithful to those standards. And it's quite amazing to me, in an unfortunate way, that I've known all too many people who they're very accomplished in many areas of their life, and they have integrity in many areas of life, but when it comes to their nutritional integrity, they eat whatever. They'll put anything into their body.
Let's hold right there. We're going to actually, and we want you to give us, because someone's like, look, my life's over now. If I can't have this, maybe you can give something that we can take this away and replace it with something healthier. So let's go. Well, we're going to take a break.
But you know what, Eddie, we need to address.
We're going to get rid of this.
A person's current state of health. Because if someone is not currently suffering, if they're not currently bothered by some type of health problem that they want to be free of, in America, typically, they have no motivation to want to give that up.
We're going to have to find some motivation, people. We got an expert here. We got a lot to talk about. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Please subscribe to The Dean Show. Follow us on our official Facebook and Twitter pages in the links below. Please also help support The Dean Show by making a donation in the link below.
And don't forget, as I asked you to do already, if you haven't, subscribe right now. Back here on the Dean Show, expert in nutrition. You worked at some of the many different medical clinics with also Dr.Mercola for 7 years. Many people know him. Tell us now, sugar.
Adding sugar is how the food industry engineers temptation.
Now the food tastes great. In fact, it tastes so great we can't put it down. This is a win-win for the food industry. They complied with the arguments of the 1980s. They've gotten us to eat more, and they are making money hand over fist. The problem is they're doing it at our expense, and we're losing our health.
Have you seen the documentary Fed Up?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, very good documentary. This helped me actually. It was a catalyst to me really taking off with this, seeing the effects of white processed refined sugar and pops and sodas and fruit juices and whatnot. And once I eliminated just the sugar.
When I get people off sugar and I get their insulin down, they all of a sudden feel more energy. They all of a sudden want to engage in physical activity. And that's part of why they lose weight.
I saw a major change in my life. Mm-hmm. One thing is, and you could take off from here, when you go into a hospital, you're supposed to be going there to get some help. And you are going to many doctors, or you go into a pediatrician's office and all the kids are drinking pop and eating chips.
Yes.
Or in the waiting room, you see a Coca-Cola machine. There's a problem here, isn't it? Let's take off from here. What do you think? So what can we do now? You talked about being cognizant, aware of what you're putting in your body, motivating people maybe before a disease hits. Because of this food intake that we're taking, especially this white refined sugar, isn't like obesity is like a leading killer, heart disease,
Yes.
and many of these other ailments.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in America, it's very few people come to set a high standard of what is acceptable food and drink for their body, what I call nutritional integrity. They typically don't do it voluntarily. They've got to be forced into it. It's like their own deteriorating health, their own body screaming at them that they need to make some changes is usually what is necessary. And that certainly was true in my case. My favorite foods for the first 20 years of my life were pizza, ice cream, fried chicken, Fannie Mae candy, and fast food burgers with French fries.
That's about probably 99% of people right now.
Yeah, and not everybody is equally harmed by it to the extent that I was. Some people have a higher tolerance for putting junk into their body than other people, but it's important to respect your own experience. A very unfortunate thing about many people, and was my experience, that I never saw a doctor when I was growing up. My parents took me to a number of different doctors. I never saw a doctor who even asked me what I was eating, as if it's completely irrelevant, which is, of course, not the case. It's a fundamental influence on everybody's health. And it's one of the influence that, especially as adults, we do have complete control over. But I was talking about nutritional integrity, and hand in hand with nutrition integrity is a consciousness practice of becoming what I call a nutrition first eater. And a nutrition first eater is simply someone who considers the nutritional value of what they're eating before they consider the taste, the convenience, the price, the appearance, the shelf life. All of that can be considerations, but if you're not considering the nutritional value of what you're eating first, then you're only ever really going to nourish yourself by accident. And if you're only ever nourishing yourself by accident, your health is going to be in a precarious state, because what you're putting into your body every day certainly is going to influence both the structure and functioning of your body sooner or later. Some people are more sensitive to their nutrition than other people, but even people that may brag that they can eat anything, they have a cast iron stomach and all of that, eventually they will be affected by what they're eating and drinking. It may just take longer for some people to experience the consequences of putting junk into their body.
I know you can go on about any of these things that I mentioned to you for hours, but just tell us what are some things that
maybe
people,
days,
days, yeah, probably weeks. Tell us, what can people do that I'm gonna name some names of some popular items, and then get your thoughts on them in a couple sentences. Okay. Coke.
Do you think people have any idea how much sugar's in it? And maybe they don't, and I think one of the things we need to do... Look at this. 23 sachets of sugar in that single container, the equivalent thereof.
Okay.
Diet Coke.
Fake food should be avoided completely, if you're interested in being healthy.
Okay, good. Microwave popcorn.
Avoided completely. That's more fake food.
Okay, we covered the fake food for the fudge cake that we just had.
Yeah, well, that's what dominates in America is fake food.
So everything you say fake food is like, just stay away from it, throw it away.
The chances are you're eating more refined sugar and starch than you realise. It's not just in the obvious things like soft drinks, syrup and candy.
1/2 of the sugar that we are consuming today is in items that we didn't even know had sugar. Tomato sauce, barbecue sauce, hamburger buns, hamburger meat, all sorts of processed foods. If you look at virtually every item in the store that has a food label, it has some form of sugar.
Yeah.
If you care for your body.
I'd like to share with you my simplest teaching on nutrition.
Yeah, make it easy, because many people we don't want to lose them, and they're like, give me some direction.
This is worth This is worth writing down.
Write it
and
down now.
Posting this on your refrigerator. But call this Nutrition 101.
Okay.
If you want to be real healthy, then eat real food.
Real food.
And real food is simple food that does not come with a label with a list of ingredients.
That's pretty, I mean, it's not the...
All the best real food, health-building food, optimum health-sustaining food that nature has to offer us, fresh vegetable nutrition, fresh fruit nutrition, fresh whole grains and legumes and nuts and seeds and fresh meats and seafood and eggs and most dairy products, there is no label with a list of ingredients. There can be, especially with dairy products like with cheese and yogurt and kefir, cottage cheese, there can be a label with a list of ingredients, but if you're getting the really good products, there's not going to be more than 3 ingredients.
I like that. So real simple. Anything that the Creator has given us to eat is natural. Like if you want something sweet, can we say like, I mean, are these real foods? We got there's sugar
that's
here.
real food.
Okay, this is a keeper. We're keeping it.
Yes.
Banana. You don't
real food.
You're not going to make a phone call with, but you can eat it.
Real
Look.
food.
All right, this is good.
Yes.
Real food. Avocado.
Yes.
We're going to keep
Yes.
it. Okay, so
do you know this food is largely promoted as being such a rich source of potassium, which it is, but this food is an even richer source of potassium than this food, and it's funny to me that the avocado producers don't promote their food as being an even richer source of potassium than bananas.
We're having a lot of fun. We're going to take a break and we're right back with more with my special guests. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Please subscribe to The Dean Show. Follow us on our official Facebook and Twitter pages in the links below. Please also help support The Dean Show by making a donation in the link below. And don't forget, as I asked you to do already, if you haven't, subscribe right now. All right, back here on the Dean Show. We're just getting warmed up. The time is flying. Let's keep it going. I'm going to mention vegetable oils. Many people cook with, what is it, canola oil and whatnot. If you're going to cook, I mean, what do you think? Using vegetable oils?
The first thing.
That's another popular
The first thing
item.
people need to know is there is no such thing as vegetable oil. That's a made-up marketing name that most people have bought into, but there is no such thing as vegetable oil. What is typically marketed to the public as vegetable oil is corn oil. Corn is a grain, or soybean oil. Soy is a legume, or canola oil or cottonseed oil. Those are not even food crops. You could call them plant oils, but have you ever seen the oil from broccoli or tomatoes or bell peppers or asparagus or spinach or lettuces? No. There's no such thing as vegetable oil.
So that's another.
We
can say garbage.
That's propaganda that is used to market a product because everybody has positive thoughts about vegetables, and so if corn oil was marketed as it is, just corn oil or grain oil, I'm certain it wouldn't sell as well, but marketing it as vegetable oil, people obviously have bought it, they continue to buy it, but corn is certainly not a vegetable. It is a grain. And soy is a legume, cottonseed, and canola. Canola is made from the rapeseed. It's not even a food crop. It's a hybrid of a seed that grows very prolifically, mostly in Canada. And canola is not even, it's a made-up name. It stands for Canadian oil.
Yeah. So the person in the kitchen is like, what do I cook with?
Well, actually, the whole practice of cooking with added fats or oils to prevent food from sticking to the surface of the cookware, that's not healthy. It never has been, and it's a mistake, and I never support that. What I support is people using healthier cooking practices where you don't need fats or oils to prevent the food from sticking to the surface of the cookware, and you can really only achieve that when you cook your food at lower temperatures. Cooking your food at lower temperatures more gently, like cooking your food on simmer on the stovetop, or using a crock pot, or using a slow cooker. Always use your crock pot on the lowest setting, or steaming your food. There's some other cooking practices that have their place, but I never support using fats and oils in the cooking process, and I know that's most people want to know what's the best fat or oil to use for cooking. The correct answer for health is none of them.
How about coconut oil, olive oil?
Well, that would be using coconut oil or butter would cause less toxic molecules to be produced than using corn oil or safflower oil or even olive oil. But my teaching is you don't want to create even small amounts of toxic substances in what you're cooking. There's one other person who supports my position. He's the only other nutritionist who has the same position that I have. He's the only other nutritionist I'm aware of, and that's Udo Erasmus. Udo Erasmus is the man that wrote the definitive book on fats and oils and human nutrition. His book has been available for a long time. It's called Fats That Heal and Fats That Kill. And he has the same exact position that I have. When he's asked the question, what are the best fats and oils to use for cooking, he always says the same thing, none of them.
Dr. Esselstyn, I don't know if you know him, he's also had him on the show. He's from the movie Forks Over Knives.
Okay.
He has this position. Tell us.
He shares the same position? He does not recommend any fats or oils in the cooking process?
Absolutely, yeah. Tell me now, when you're cooking white flour, that's another common one, white flour.
Yeah, but see, that's a mistake to use white flour at all, because that's more fake food.
That's another fake food?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this one we're throwing, there's a lot of things we're throwing out right now.
Yeah, well, it's a better approach is to focus on what to eat rather than what not to eat.
Okay, well, how can we substitute? Substitute now, if somebody wants to make something sweet, right? So we're not using that right. What
like you said, Eddie, here we go. Natural sweetness, right?
I've heard
fresh fruits.
You have raw, unpasteurized honey. How's that? Dates. That's a real food. What do you think?
As a transition food, that can be good.
Coconut palm sugar?
But to really achieve and sustain a high level of health, especially if you're currently struggling with your health, you got some chronic health issues, it's best to actually evolve beyond wanting to indulge your taste buds with concentrated sweetness. What we enjoy as a matter of taste is largely a matter of what we're familiar with, habit. You can re-educate your taste buds. You can re-educate your taste buds and learn to enjoy foods that are truly nourishing and health sustaining for your body. But you have to make some changes. And ultimately the changes come down to what is it you need to add to your life and what is it you need to subtract from your life. Just to keep it real simple, I always recommend to everybody I work with, add more real food and subtract the fake food.
That's a real simple formula. Add real food.
Yes.
We listed some things that are fake. That's basically garbage. If it's fake, throw it out. And real food. Give us some examples of real food. Chicken, steak, what do you...
Sure. Well, all whole, fresh foods, vegetables, salad vegetables, any vegetables that you enjoy, whole vegetables, get them fresh. Fresh is always better than frozen or canned. Fresh fruits, nuts and seeds, grains and legumes, that covers all the plant foods. And then in the way of animal foods, meats, fresh meats from healthy animals. That's a very important qualification. Fresh meats from healthy, humanely raised animals, pasture-raised, grass-fed beef, not factory farm meat, organic chicken, organic pork, eggs, organic.
As Muslims, this pork we stay totally away from.
Allah has forbidden everything that harms the body and the mind and saps the strength. Everything that is harmful to a person is not permitted. Allah says in the Qur'an, "Say, O Muhammad, peace be upon him, I do not find within that which was revealed to me anything forbidden to one who would eat it, unless it be a dead animal, or blood spilled out, or the flesh of swine, but indeed it is impure." There are reasons that the meat of the pigs become more saturated with toxins than many of its counterpart farm animals. The first reason has to do with the digestive system of a pig. Pigs are the filthiest animals on earth, with the most parasites and diseases than any other animal that mankind consumes.
Fine. I can respect that. Yeah. I can respect
alcohol.
everything that harms the body and the mind and saps the strength. Everything that is harmful to the person is not permitted. Allah says in the Quran, O you who believe, intoxicants and gambling and al-nasab and al-azlam, arrows for seeking luck or decision, are an abomination of shaitan, Satan's handiwork. So avoid that in order that you may be successful. When considering the world's worst killers, alcohol likely doesn't come to mind, yet alcohol kills more than 3 million people worldwide each year, including drink driving, alcohol-induced violence and abuse, and a multitude of diseases and disorders. Alcohol causes 1 in 20 deaths globally every year. Alcohol kills 1 person every 10 seconds worldwide. Alcohol causes some 3.3 million deaths in 2012, equivalent to 5.9% of the global deaths. More than AIDS, tuberculosis, and violence combined, and it is on the rise.
All pork, this is kind of the dietary, and
Yes.
then the meat that we eat is also, it's supposed to be meat that it's what's called halal.
Exactly the same way all the prophets have done for thousands of years. Abraham, Noah, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, peace upon all of them. Not using stun guns or hammers or any other equipments, electrical equipments, simply only using God's name upon slaughter.
Zabia, where
Sure.
all the blood comes out, right?
Yes.
And it's supposed to be in its
Yes.
natural habitat.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
it's very important that the animal, that the meats that people eat come from healthy, humanely raised animals, and also the way the animal is killed. It should be in a very humane way. That is very
that's
important.
so important. Yeah,
I know, and that's
yeah.
a very important part of halal, and I have a lot of appreciation for that.
You know about
And
halal?
Yes.
Oh, cool. All right.
I've worked with hundreds of people over the years who were of the Muslim faith. In fact, a very good friend of mine in Houston, Texas area is a Sufi.
Yeah, we're actually out of time.
Okay.
And hey, there's a gift for you. Thank you
thank
very
you.
much for being with us. You got if you open, you got a little gift box in here.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah. So. Is a gift for you.
Okay.
Look, can we have you back? This is something that I love talking about. We didn't even talk about vitamin D and zinc and all these other vitamin C's. We got a lot to talk about. Maybe on another episode, could we have you back?
I would enjoy coming back very much, Eddie.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you so much. God
You're
bless
very
you for
welcome.
being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you
God
so
bless
much.
you.
And that was our special guest, Jim Marlowe, chief nutritionist, going on 40 years, worked with the likes of Dr.Mercola and other specialists, experts in this field here on the Dean Show to enlighten us. And what's at the end of the day, the message, the simple message that you can carry away from this is eat real food. Had an example of the cake made with white processed refined sugars. It's fake food. It has no nutritional value. Those Dunkin' Donuts, no nutritional value, but they have elements in there, addictive elements that get you addicted to something that has no nutritional value and actually has harmful elements in there, leading causes for heart disease, for diabetes, and other chronic diseases. So now you're addicted to something that's going to eventually bring on a chronic disease. And then you're going to be tired and sick all the time. So replace the fake food with real food. With real food. We hope that you'll heed the advice and subscribe if you haven't already, so you can get the next week's show and more like it. And when we have Jim on again, you can get it delivered directly to you. Fridays every week. Come back, and until next time, we start with peace, we end with peace. Assalamu alaikum. And don't forget, as I asked you to do already, if you haven't, subscribe right now.